Oh, alright, everyone. So, Bungie just announced their developer insights into Strand. So, we're about to go watch that. So, three, two, one, let's go. I can't wait for that. Wait,
I'm
Christmas wish. This Warlock, that's Quicksilver Storm, okay? Without the Catalyst, and as we can see, there's one, two, three melee charges, the grenade, the rift, a stasis grenade launcher, a arc fusion, and a Quicksilver Storm. Nope, we'll go full screen. So there's the threadlings. And once they get within like 1 to 2 meters, they jump and they'll attack. So there's the three. Because we're gonna go through this. And hold on. So improved ability regeneration. So that's one of the things. Strand empowered. So that must have something to do with something. And then armor charge. It might be an aspect the Warlock has.
I'm most excited for Strand. That's going to be super epic just to introduce a new damage type.
What's cool about Strand is it can take so many forms.
The first time players see some new super action for Strand is going to be really exciting.
Which I can't wait for. I'm excited as all hell about it.
Strand is this network of metaphysical connection. Objects, people, past, present, future. We call it the weave. Anytime a guardian needs to use Strand, revealing all the strands around them, reaching in, weaving weapons.
Each of the supers kind of reflect that idea, weaving into needles, weaving it into a giant rope dart, weaving it into claws, revealing it as these green strands in the world.
Green was definitely like something that we were excited about because it stood apart from other damage types. It kind of gave it like its own visual language. World strands are the things that are like more organic, flowing. It almost looks like a curtain of strands that flicker in and out of reality. The idea of like the strings, like the strands lighting up the world. I think that was when everything kind of started to come together, and like that starts to then influence what's the design, what is the VFX going to look like, what does audio sound like for it.
We really wanted to visually show that there's some sort of order in the universe or some sort of chaos. But when players take it in, they're weaving these weapons of destruction.
When developing Strand, we wanted the emotional fantasy to be based on ropes and strings, and the mechanical fantasy to be rapid movement, creating
I like the fact that, okay. So I like the fact that instead of going with their initial concept design for the hunter, they went with more of this rope dart action, because I think we've seen too many of the blade styles for hunters. I think the fact that it's going to be a rope dart really goes more into hunters in and of themselves, because we have bows, we have the guns, we have the knives, we have the staff. Yeah, okay, cool. But having a rope dart is going to feel nice for the hunters to have.
Out of these strands.
Warlock melee.
When you are in each of your super states, you have these strand elements that are on you that are connected from above. Things that you create are constantly revealing this world of strands around you.
Threaded Spike, the hunter's melee ability, will bounce between enemies until it can't find anymore, and then it will come back to me. If I press the melee button again, as it comes back to me, I will catch it, and that gives me melee energy for the next time I want to use it.
Wait.
Back to me, I will catch it. Back to me. If I press the melee button again, as it comes back to me, I will catch.
So new submachine gun,
Shit. And that gives me
and it's a strand weapon. So we've got to look at a new strand weapon, a submachine gun,
melee energy for the next time I want to use it.
or maybe it's an
As a
auto. It's one of
VFX
the two.
artist, we came up with this idea of when it goes out, let's put a bunch of additional communication on it to make it look more dangerous. And when it comes back, we don't add that stuff, and it's simpler, and then it feels less dangerous. And then that's when we know that we did it right, when you're not even questioning it. But getting to that point is definitely a challenge. And each one of the Strand abilities, I feel like, have these little twists in there.
The LMG.
It's so important that you can tell what it is at a moment's notice.
And then as we go through the process, there's revisions and refining it based off of playtests.
Sometimes there are small visual changes. Sometimes it's like overall big differences. And I think a good example is the Titan Super.
We had this really cool swipe attack that was severing enemies, but it was hard to chase those enemies down. We need a long-range attack for the Titan that is going to enable us to get close with the melee attack and attack them. And Suspend was a natural choice for that.
One really cool
That's
thing we're
actually
introducing with Strand is the ability to suspend combatants. Combatants are lifted up into the air, they're suspended in these strand webs.
Their limbs are now like connected to these invisible strands and they are vulnerable. Then you can then start to set up combos on top of that, or even just I need to take a breath moment.
That really gives you and then your fire team members an opportunity to kind of set up 1-2 punch kind of combos. Sometimes you can use it more as utility and provide support for your team, and so I think that's going to create like a lot of opportunities where Strand's going to be valuable no matter what. I think it was really that moment where everything kind of like clicked, and we're like everyone on the team was like, oh, I get what Strand is now.
That heavy grenade launcher is a
big part
waveframe.
of Strand looking at the concept art that we tried.
Hold on.
What Strand is now.
Yeah, that's a wave.
And it like clicked, and we're like everyone on the team was like, oh, I get what Strand is now.
Or that might be something new. Okay, so this is the hunter. But this is interesting. So a heavy waveframe grenade launcher. Normally when we see waveframes, they've always been special. This is the first heavy version. And it's a stasis one.
A big
That
part of Strand looking at the
basically shoots cold
concept art
snaps.
that we tried to clue into was the idea of cosmic webs. What do cosmic webs sound like?
Anything that kind of evoked this feeling of tension and pulling. Things like recording us rubbing on plastics, leather gloves.
We would string out a big sheet of plastic wrap and running our fingers along it in really weird performative ways.
We actually start taking these sounds and combining them together and creating new things that are starting to sound a little bit more like something that could be put into the game.
That's just kind of the fun part of the sound design process that really brings everything together.
Some wacky things have happened as we've developed Strands, interactions we didn't necessarily anticipate. When you pick up a tangle and you throw it, you can grapple to that tangle, and you're sailing through the air after this tangle, which can then hit an enemy, blow them up, and then you just swoop in and follow up.
Designers will find these bugs that will come back and be like, oh, actually you can do this. And you're like, let's double down on that, you know? Let's make that bug a feature. One of the coolest things about the way that we work at Bungie is we will take someone's awesome idea, and through playtesting, through iteration, we can keep tweaking it and make the idea better.
And then as we start to add the animation support, the VFX support, the audio support, that's when it really starts to come to life. All of that goes into making Strand this quality new damage type.
Hold on.
You can
Oh, I'm actually a Strand hand cannon. Why? Why did you do this to me, Bungie?
Audio support, that's when it really starts to come to life.
Okay, so one thing I'm going to say when it comes to fusion rifles, I don't really like most fusion rifles. They feel clunky and everything. But the design that they're going with this arc one, I like it because I like the Exile's Curse. So the fact that we get an arc version is going to be cool.
All of that goes into making Strand this quality new damage type.
You can imagine how it could work on paper, but then when we actually have the final result, wow, this is gonna be something special.
And feels like nothing else I've ever played before.
As players experiment and figure out all the weird things they can do, they're gonna get even more excited.
Oh yeah, this is cool. Like this is it.
Once it goes live, then it's like, all right, let's see where players take it, and that's actually really exciting.
Okay. Let's talk about what we saw before and go and I upload this and everything. So I think what's going to be the one cool thing is not just going to be how Strand works in and of itself. It's also how Strand's going to work as a as kind of this. How does it work with other weapons? How does it work with other builds? Are there going to be things added to guns that are going to work really well with Strand in and of itself? One thing I don't want to see when Strand comes out is I don't want to see the immediate, and it's going to happen because this is the Destiny community. Whenever the Destiny community gets something new and they see how cool it is, it's instant. It's broken. It's OP. It's overpowered build. It's said with everything. Whatever rocket gets released new, whatever, because it just they're doing it to hype people up. I think Strand is going to have pros and cons. I don't think it's going to be coherently like the game breaking meta thing. I don't think it's going to be how Stasis was. I don't think when you go into PvP and you see the rope dart, you're instantly going to feel like you can't do much. You know, because they said it wasn't going to be as bad as what Stasis was. And I'm really not seeing that. They gave the stark differentiate between PvP and PvE Strand usage. Because the problem we had with Stasis was it was all linear. All of it was linear. There was no, you have XYZ to deal with, and then you have ABC. You know, it's AMO. Like, it's different, but it's also unique. And I think that's something that placates really well to how Strand just overall is. So that's kind of something that I have a placated interest in. You know, because the Brood Weaver, because you know that's what I'm going to be. I'm going to be the Warlock. The Needle Storm, the Arcane Needles, you know, the Weaver Cell, the additional specific qualities for, you know, what you're using. Grapple into a melee, grenades. Like, it's going to be new. It's going to be interesting. And then we have to take a look at all the guns that we're getting. So we're getting, you know, we're going to be getting in, you know, arc fusion rifle. We're going to be getting a stasis grenade launcher. We're going to be getting a Strand hand cannon. It's a Strand, it's probably an auto rifle. When I take a look at this, it's probably an auto rifle. like a carbine. Um, and then we got to take a look at how is this going to work with you know other builds. Because one build I'm already going to be going into there with once I get Strand is how does this work with Neurotic Grip? How can I make this build even better? How can I make it so I feel powerful? Where I can get my kills, but I can get my abilities back and like just placate off of that, just bounce back and forth. Um, One concept I already have is doing a Traveler's Chosen, Neurotic Grip, Strand, and then run my Incandescent Battler. Just for range. Just so there's that explosive corruption tanglement. Um, that's one idea. Another idea is having, using with Ostia Striga, see how that will placate. Will there be a change in it? Will there be something with there? Monte Carlo, how's that going to work? Because Monte Carlo will be getting an Exotic Catalyst at some point. How's that going to be? What's that going to do? Is that going to give Swashbuckler? Is that going to give it a better Makarov chain? What's that going to be like? So that's just kind of like where I'm at with build ideas for Strand. And of course, we're going to be the Warlock because why wouldn't we? One thing that I don't want to say like I'm afraid for, but I don't want to see a lot of the, well, this is broken, XYZABD, because ADFP. Like, don't. Because another thing we don't even know is we don't even know if when these guns drop, um, are they going to be as bad as what people think that they're going to be right then and there? Because the thing is, we just don't know. You can think, oh, well, this is going to be broken right off the bat because of this. But that could just be farther from the truth than what it is. There's a lot of things with Strand that we're going to have to test out and see. And I'm here for it because I'm excited for this. When Void came out, it was the best. It felt powerful. It felt nice. It felt like they really, really took their time to think, okay, how can we make this better? And they did their job. They made it really freaking good. But then came Solar. And when Solar came out, I'm not even gonna lie to you, I was not excited for it. It looked cool. It looked like it'd be fun. I liked the addition of the snap for the Warlock. But then it just became too out there. You saw Lori Splendor just kind of boom, 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 boom. um, So yeah, I mean, and I see a lot of people talking about how Strand is going to be, and how they hate the fact that the Titans are what they are. I'm just like, wait and see, because when you saw Sentinel Shield in Ward of Dawn, were you just like, it's still gonna be bad, but yet half of you run it like crazy? When Arc 3.0 came out, you guys are thunder crashing, Fist of Havocing, and using the new thing like crazy. Warlocks with Arc, Tickle Fingers was nice. Chaos Reach isn't what it used to be. It still doesn't work with Geos. Yeah, the melee is cool when the Arc Souls are everywhere, but that's just how things are with Arc Souls. Nova Bomb is still the best pick because you have to counter things like Well of Radiances, Ward of Dawns. When a hunter's running at you with a super, Nova Bomb the piss out of them. I think Strand's going to have a couple counters. Tether's going to be one of them. Ward of Dawn might just fall out, but I don't think it has the destructive capability like Nova Bomb has, where it can just burst through the shield and just eviscerate everyone inside because of it. I don't think it's going to have that capability. It might need to be like how with Nova Bomb, sometimes when you have to drop it inside, but you're going to have to get there. Arc, Staff, that will do it. Well of Radiance, it might be a good counter for that, but other than that, I think we're not going to see the Silence and Squall crap like we saw in Beyond Light. Just because I think that it was their first attempt at making a new subclass, and it was really hard for them to get back to the whole bringing in line. Silence and Squall is still the most powerful stasis super. Next is the Warlock, and then is Titan. In terms of Arc, Titans have one of the best because they can literally just yeet themselves. Fist of Havoc isn't as good as what it could have been. The Shoulder Charge is Ballistic Slam is still the best, so that still means that OG Thunder Crash build was still the best. Storm Grenades are the best thing to run for a Titan. So, in terms of Arc, Titans, Hunters, Warlocks. Solar, Golden Gun still has supremacy because of its heavy DPS, its insta-kill mechanics, and its Blade Barrage. But I wouldn't say it's the I be it like pinnacle, because Well of Radiance Warlocks are still up there, still one of the most used subclasses in terms of being a Warlock. So I don't think that those two are in the same level. Lordy Splendor, when it first came out, made Titans strong as hell. It made them amazing. It made them at the top. But then they got nerfed into the ground. And they haven't recovered yet. So, Titans are in second place. Hunters and Warlocks for Solar are tied. Void is the interesting one because each one is good. Each one has its own thing. So, really no class 1 Void for me. Tethers are strong. Spectral Blade is strong. Nova Bomb is strong. Nova Warp is, okay, you can make a thing for saying Nova Warp isn't that good. Bubble is good. Sentinel Shield. There are people that use it. So that's that. Stasis, it's Hunter, Warlock, Titan. That's just how it goes. But before I go on another rant and have to deal with a half-hour video that's going to take me probably like an hour to upload, I'm going to leave it there. I will see you guys tomorrow for some more PvP, some PvE action with the Darkness Brothers, Darkness family, because not always the brothers. So yeah, see you guys then. Have a good one. You're dredging. See you later.